Okay, so we're going to talk about the four major factors that are the most important to college admissions officers. We're not going to be talking about the college essay right now or the letters of recommendation, all these things. But what you have to understand as you go through, and hopefully you watched the video already on what colleges want, so you can see why they look at these factors. But now let's dive into how you can improve these things. So the four things that they look at, first of all, is overall GPA. They're going to be looking at your grades in schools and in your classes in high school. They're going to look at the strength of your schedule. That's the second thing. So if you have straight A's, but they're all Regents level or regular classes, that won't look as good as someone getting B's or B pluses in honors level classes or college level classes. That's the next thing they're going to look at. They're going to look at your actual grades in college level classes, like the AP classes. And then obviously they're going to look at your SATs and your ACT scores. Okay. Now here's what you should look at as far as the major factors. You know, it depends on what kind of student you are. If you're looking to go to an Ivy League school, or Harvard, or Stanford, or something like that, what's going to end up happening is you go into categories. Okay. So now there are other factors that can go into it. Like you can have maybe a little bit lower of a GPA or a little bit lower of the SAT scores if, for example, your legacy, like your parents went to that school already, or if you have some kind of special skill, if you play a sport, or I remember I was reading about a student who got into Harvard with like B's. I've been a great student, but he was a tuba player, and they really needed a tuba player. And so point being is. These are general. There's obviously other factors that can go into it, but these are the first four major factors they're going to look into. And these factors kind of put you in different piles. So with the you got to imagine a school, a good school that a lot of students are applying to that they want to get into. It doesn't have to be an Ivy League school, just any good school, four-year school. They're going to get lots and lots of applications. So these first four factors, what it really does is they just put you into a category, okay? So you go, okay, let's look at here's all the people with over 3.5 GPAs. Put them here, okay? So that's, and then they separate them up, okay? So here's the 3.5s, here's the 3.5 to 4.0, here's the 3.0 to 3.5, here's this, and they go into, then they just separate them all up, and that's how they look. They start looking in that way, right? Then they'll take the top 3.5 to 4.0s, and they'll say, okay, let's look at what kind of classes they take. Okay, did they take, why did they get this high GPA? Let's look at the weighting of that school. What's the weighting process? Is this their unweighted or weighted averages? And then they start looking at college level classes. How many college level classes? Is the student challenging themselves? Now, also, by the way, just like in a job setting, people can be overqualified. It just happens. And so point being is, some school that knows that you have standards that are so, that your application is so good that they realize you're probably going to get accepted to another school, might not accept you. Okay, so just because they don't think you're going to actually go. So if you have a school that if your grades are really good and you have all the things that are needed to get into a school, and you really want to go to a particular school, and maybe it's not a school that you think is maybe it's your safety school, or it's a school that your standards are your level of performance is higher than their standards, but you really want to go to that school, let them know, okay? Like put that in there. Let them put a letter in there saying like, this is my number one choice of school, and here's why. And so that way you don't get taken out, not accepted just because you're overqualified as a student. All right, but anyway, that's very rare and in between. So understand that these sections are going to put you into different categories, and they're going to look at different things. All right, so you might have hopefully watched my video on the bell curve and the weighted average, and so understand if you have a 4.62 GPA because of your weighted average at your high school, they're going to look at your unweighted averages again when they're comparing you to other students. So, which is why they look at SAT scores. So the first thing you look at is again, the first thing you look at is your grades. Then they're going to start looking at your classes, what kind of classes did you take, and then they're going to look at your standardized test scores. That's the next thing they're going to step. They're going to step to, and then they make piles. Okay, and so understand those things are. You can work as hard as you can to get good grades in the SATs, get good grades in your classes, and take good courses. And That's going to put you in a certain pile. And then from there, now they might just accept everyone over a certain level. You know, in this pile, they won't even look at your letters of recommendation or your college essay or all that other stuff. The secondary things that are going to be in the videos below, secondary things are, they look at those to kind of figure out which ones, when they're in the middle, okay, which ones should get in and which ones shouldn't, okay, and that's really what they're looking for there. So a couple tips on some of these classes, and you should be thinking about this going into your junior year. Hopefully you're watching this, you're going into your junior year, and even your senior year as you're going into your senior year at the end of your junior year when you make your school schedule. I do want to talk about college level classes. If your school, and I'm a big proponent of people taking AP classes and taking AP classes and taking the AP test. All right, and students might not like this, but it'll benefit you 100 times later on to get a good grade in your test. All right. By the way, one of the things that you should look for in your school is what do they accept for APs? You know, do they accept 4s? Do they accept 5s? What did they accept? Do they accept 3s? You know, as far as an AP test. And an AP test, for those who don't know, an AP test or an AP grade, it's you can get a score of 1 is the lowest you can get and 5 is the best you can get, and it's college level classes. The reason I tell you to do this, and you know, I think the AP at the time of this video, the AP test is I think it's $75 or $85 to take the test. Best $85 ever if you can get in, it can help you. I took AP Bio in high school. Only took it because there was a girl in the class that I liked, and but took the class, actually liked biology, ended up getting a 4 on the AP Bio test, and that placed me out of taking Bio 101 and 102 in college. Bio 101 and 102 in college were the weed out class, where they try to get rid of all the people who say I want to go into medicine and doctors, and it's really hard stuff. And so it got me 8 credits in college. I took a half a year of microeconomics. I took microeconomics, and I think I took macroeconomics. I got 4s on both of those and got out of. That's one of the reasons I'm an economics major, is because I had 6 credits already in economics when I decided I was going to double major in philosophy and economics. And I was like, well, economics already got some AP credits. So those AP classes now, again, when you're going into your senior year, they don't really see, your transcript should already be sent, so they won't see your grades at the end, and you don't want to kill yourself. You don't want to take 6 AP classes and hurt yourself as far as not enjoying your senior year. But pick a couple of AP classes and take them in your junior and senior year if you're able to, and study hard and get good grades on those AP tests, because they can definitely help you save a lot of money and help you a lot once you get to college. So that's my spiel on APs. I like them. You should take them. I think they're great. Again, don't overdo it. Don't overwhelm yourself, and still enjoy your high school, your last year of high school. But those tests will definitely help out. So just so you understand, those are the criteria. Each school, when you go on your college fair, you start looking for colleges. You start, looking into the college degree or the college school that you're going to. Ask them. What is the average AP? What is the average SAT score? What is the average ACT? But the ACTs, I will tell you, I took the ACT as well. The ACTs will help if you're one of those students who's maybe not the top tier, but you're in the, where I was kind of like the B plus student, sometimes a C here or there. If you're in that field, take some ACT tests, because some of the mid-range schools, not the Ivy League top of the thing schools, but some of those middle schools like Rutgers, they might even take ACTs as opposed to SATs if you don't do well on the SAT test. And let's be real, the SAT test is 4 hours. It makes you want to shoot yourself sometimes taking that test. So maybe you don't want to take it SAT test. You should take it at least twice, but maybe you don't want to take it 3 or 4 times, and maybe do well on the first time, or maybe they'll just accept the ACT as something that they'll take, especially if you're going into a specific field. If you're going into something specific, and you could take the ACT specific class, the specific test that they have for those fields, like the English, ACT English, or ACT Science or Bio. I think they have some ACTs for that as well. So those tests are definitely good if you're going to study for them, and you're going to take them. And make sure your school, if you picked your school, make sure it's worth it while to take them. If you're not going to, if you have 3 schools and those are your schools that you're going after, and you maybe don't even have a safety school, you just know you'll get to one of those 3, and none of them look at ACTs, then don't bother with the ACT. All right. So again, you have to do a little bit of research on your schools before you decide what you're going to do. Figure that out. Start now. Start in the summertime, and you guys have the internet now. You can look up all this stuff right on the internet and not wait for a college fair or to talk to the actual college.